Hey guys, Anthony here, and this is your live Q&A for April 5th, 2017. We've got two awesome questions. The first is from Lauren. She's asking about, can you biohack hives and allergies? So the situation with Lauren is she's been dealing with, for years, hives breaking out all over her body. She taught a boot camp outdoors in New Orleans. It got worse and worse and worse until eventually she went to a doctor, found out she was allergic to trees, bushes, like fucking everything in nature, right? So she's since moved to LA. She's been doing most of her workouts indoors in gyms, but it got so bad that she had to start getting injections. The injections came with their own side effects, as many medications do, and she's asking, Anthony, is there a way to biohack my hives and allergies so that I don't have to keep going to the doctor to get these injections and dealing with the side effects? So what I did for you guys and Lauren is I put together a quick couple slides that talk about some of the causes of allergies. It's not all of them. To really figure out what is the cause of your allergies, Lauren, or anyone else watching that may be dealing with allergies, you got to do some deep discovery. But I want to point you guys in the right direction and hopefully give you some things that can help. All right, so some of the main causes of allergies that we can deal with. A lot of people, probably not you guys because you've already biohacked your nutrition, I'm hoping, but some of the causes a lot of people deal with. High omega-6 content in tissues. So we've got omega-6 and omega-3 fats. Those are the two predominant fats in our diet. A lot of people are consuming way too many omega-6s, which are like nuts, industrial seed oils, etc., and not enough omega-3s. So one of the reasons that we really advocate getting a lot of wild-caught seafood in your diet is because it contains a lot of omega-3s. But not just omega-3s like you would get consuming a plant-based diet, but docosahexaenoic acid, which is the type of omega-3 that's most prominent in our brain and central nervous system. So high omega-6 to omega-3 content can cause inflammation, which can also cause some of these hives and allergic responses that Lauren is dealing with. And we'll go into that in a little bit more detail. I've got some other tips on the next slide. The seat is going crazy. But one of the things that you want to do just off the bat is make sure that your omega-6 to omega-3 ratio is below 10 to 1. So I want to give you guys some metrics that you can look for. There are blood tests. There's one from Quest Diagnostics that you can have your physician or functional medicine practitioner order for you. Or there's also a Vital Omega 3 and 6 HUFA test. Now, I have not personally used this one. You can check it out at genesmart.com. I can't vouch for the quality of it, but it is a test that can be done at home and you don't need a doctor to order it for you. So what you do is you get the blood test, figure out what your omega-6 to omega-3 ratio is, and make sure it's below 10 to 1, right? So that's a metric that you guys can follow to address that. Other causes, histamine intolerance and mast cell activation. So histamine, tyramine, arginine, these are amino acids that are in our food, and a lot of people have histamine sensitivity. There's also people that are sensitive to tyramine and arginine, but the most common is histamine intolerance. And when they eat foods that cause their body to release histamine, they get an allergic response, like Hennessy's is about to have sneezing behind the camera. And mast cell activation. So mast cells are like immune cells in our body that release histamine as part of our immune response. And there's a lot of things that can cause histamine intolerance and mast cell activation, not the least of which is our gut microbiome and having autoimmune conditions. So whether it's our environment, our gut microbiome, which is a part of our environment, it's just within our body's ecology, being intolerant to histamine or dealing with mast cell activation where your cells are overly active and they're releasing too much histamine can cause these types of hive and allergic reactions that Lauren's dealing with. The next is infection, whether that's parasites, candida, Epstein-Barr virus, Lyme disease, etc., any of those. You want to do your due diligence and figure out if you're dealing with an infection. On the membership site, I've posted questionnaires where you can do an assessment and see if you are dealing with candida, parasites. We don't have a questionnaire for Epstein-Barr or Lyme, but with Lyme, you can go online and you can do something called a visual contrast sensitivity test. And that can give you a good gauge whether you're dealing with some of the side effects that are common with Lyme disease. So make sure that you're checking out infections. And then another big one is toxic overload. And there's a lot of different types of toxins. Many of these are overlooked. So some of the big ones that are overlooked, electromagnetic field exposure. So that's our cell phones, Wi-Fi, these high-powered Wi-Fi routers that are everywhere, sitting in front of our laptops, power lines, etc. Flying, people that fly a lot for work have much greater exposure to electromagnetic fields. And living away from the Earth's electromagnetic field also prevents us from reconnecting and like resetting our body's electromagnetic charge. So EMF exposure, glyphosate, that's in a lot of genetically modified foods. Corn, soy, canola oil being the big three. Dental infections, that's a big source of toxicity that a lot of people overlook. Infected root canals, dental cavitations, dental abscesses that harbor gram-negative bacteria and cause inflammation. A lot of heart disease and other, like even impotence in guys, is now traced back to dental infections that haven't been addressed. These bacteria produce toxins of their own and causes a lot of issues and heightened inflammatory and allergic responses. Environmental toxins, whether that's like flame retardant chemicals that are sprayed in hotels, the air we breathe, pollution, the water we drink, fluoride, etc. Unidentified food sensitivities. A lot of people are putting this stuff in their body. It's toxins of choice. They just don't realize that they're sensitive to it. Some common ones that I see a lot are nuts, nut butters, eggs. These are like healthy foods for many people, but they're also foods that can cause inflammation for other people depending on where you're at epigenetically in terms of your gene expression, where your gut microbiome is at. So you want to pay attention to that. Compromised detoxification pathways. Some common ones, people that have the genetic variations, MTHFR or COMT, their detoxification pathways, their methylation, which is like a process that's happening billions of times in the body every second, can be compromised. And consequently, the body is not able to get rid of toxins at a speed that exceeds the amount their body is taking in toxins. Over time, that results in toxic overload, which can cause inflammation, which can cause a lot of these allergic responses that Lauren and some of you guys may be dealing with. So those are some of the main causes, and there are more, but you guys can start to see why some of this stuff, there's some deep discovery, personalization, blood work, etc. that can be helpful in identifying these things. All right, so now some biohacks that can help with allergic response dealing with hives. Let's start with your nutrition, right? You want to make sure that your nutrition, the base of your nutrition is on point. You're going to be getting your protein mostly from wild-caught seafood to get that omega-3 ratio improved, right? Make sure that your omega-3s relative to your omega-6s are much greater. 80% of your diet should be coming from veggies and berries, ideally organic. Now, I'm not talking about healthy fats here. You still want a lot of healthy plant-based fats in your diet. If you're dealing with inflammation, I recommend staying away from animal-based fats and proteins unless it is wild-caught seafood for right now. Get your baseline. I think Lauren had mentioned that she's already gone 100% plant-based and found some improvements there. I would imagine that by actually integrating wild-caught seafood, specifically raw wild oysters and raw wild sashimi. I'm not talking about like bullshit farm-raised sushi from the grocery store. I'm talking about like raw, wild, good quality sushi. She'll get her omega-3 ratios up, and that will improve things even beyond just going 100% plant-based, because the plant-based, when we try to convert plant-based omega-3s into like DHA, it's a very inefficient conversion process in the body. Okay, then avoid high histamine, tyramine, and arginine foods. And there's a good article on Mind Body Green that you guys can go to if you look up, like, if you type in like histamine intolerance, Mind Body Green, you can go and read more about what specifically those foods are. It goes a little bit beyond the scope of today's live Q&A, but I wanted to point you guys in the right direction there. So get your nutrition on point, consume lots of healthy fats. Roughly 50 to 85% of your daily calories should be coming from healthy plant-based fats. That's extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, avocados, avocado oil, and you can even go deeper with sprouted seeds. You can include C8, pure caprylic acid, coconuts, coconut oil, yada, yada, yada. Supplements. There are supplements that can help with liver function, detoxification, and cooling the body's inflammatory response and histamine response. Some of those, MitoQ liver. So MitoQ is a powerful antioxidant that works on the mitochondria. They have a liver version that also includes a highly bioavailable form of milk thistle, along with selenium and some other nutritional cofactors that help your liver detoxify better. Doctor's Best Quality, which is a form of vitamin C that is highly bioavailable, and it's not genetically modified. A lot of you guys may or may not know many vitamin C supplements are made from GMO corn, so we don't want that. Doctor's Best Quality is an affordable type. Dosage-wise, 2 per day, empty stomach of the MitoQ. 5 per day, which is 5,000 milligrams, empty stomach, doctor's best quality. Then you've got now quercetin with bromelain. Again, both of those also help with histamine response. Bromelain is a proteolytic enzyme that is derived from the pineapple, I believe. And you want to take 2 of those 3 times a day. You don't have to take all of these. I'm pointing you guys in the right direction because the specific ones that you take will depend on your individual situation. Planetary herbals, freeze-dried stinging nettles, 1 capsule twice a day. And then many people that are histamine intolerant are actually deficient in an enzyme called DAO. It's diamine oxidase. And that is an enzyme in the body that breaks down histamine. So if you are deficient in diamine oxidase, DAO, your body's not going to break down histamine properly, and you're going to have a much higher likelihood of dealing with hives. So some people need to supplement with DAO, which you can get. There's a number of different kinds on Amazon, and you take that before meals, and that can be helpful too. We've got to address and identify and address those infections. So again, on the membership site, I've got the protocol that I use for parasites. I've got the protocol that I use for candida. Other things that are really helpful with infections. Ozone. You can find a practitioner that can administer major autohemotherapy, which is where they take out your blood. They administer ozone, which is O3. So you guys know that, may or may not know that oxygen is O2. Ozone is O3. So it has this extra single oxygen molecule. That oxygen molecule goes in and helps to kill parasites, viruses, bacteria, and then as the single oxygen molecule, it leaves O2, it helps to oxygenate the body. A lot of pathogens thrive in an anaerobic environment, which means without oxygen. So as we oxygenate the body and we kill pathogens, it works twofold. So ozone is a great way to do that. The ways to administer ozone: major autohemotherapy, ozone sauna, rectal insufflation, where you actually administer the ozone rectally. All of those can be helpful, and you can find if you guys are looking for someone that can help you out with ozone, I can point you guys in the direction of a website where you can find a practitioner. I have an ozone generator here that I use for rectal insufflation, and love it. So the silver pulsar, it's a device that uses a low-level electric current on the radial and ulnar arteries of the wrist to help clean the blood. It's a current that is strong enough to kill pathogens and stun parasites so that our immune system can come in and do its job, but it's not so strong that it does any harm to us. So using the silver pulsar can be helpful. The protocol there is half an hour every other day week 1, half an hour every day week 2, and then an hour every day week 3. Then you're ready to actually go into the protocol. And the protocol that is necessary to clean the body is 6 months long. And you got to do it daily, and it's 2 to 4 hours a day for 6 months, wearing this on your wrist. When you do it does not matter, it just matters that you do it. The silver pulsar can also be used to make colloidal silver, which is a natural antibiotic. So you make that, and you can work your way up to 2 cups a day. But I recommend starting out with just 1 ounce, and then gradually increasing as your body's tolerance adjusts, and then you can work your way up to 2 cups per day. Soda water ozonator ozonates the water that you then drink, has a similar effect to what I described earlier with the ozone. Detox. So this is going to help with some of those compromised detoxification pathways. Largest detoxification organ in our body is our skin, right? Yes, we detox through the liver. Yes, we detox through the kidneys and a number of other bodily organs and systems, but the skin is our largest, and sweating daily for 60 minutes is instrumental in assisting with detoxification. Along with that, you can use a dry sauna, you can use an infrared sauna. Sulforaphane, which is, it's in broccoli sprouts, very helpful for detoxification and increasing liver function. Coffee enemas, which are, I believe we've done videos in the live Q&As talking about how to do coffee enemas, so you guys can find that in the membership area and follow that. The way coffee enemas work is they boost liver function by roughly 5x. The coffee is absorbed through the hepatic portal vein into the liver, which boosts liver function. It also increases your body's production of glutathione, which is its master antioxidant. All this stuff can be helpful in detoxification. And then get a tan. Find a way to gradually and systematically acclimate yourself to being outside. Now, you don't, like, if you know that you are sensitive to trees and all these other things right now because of the current state of your body and your genetic expression, start slow. It may only be 5 minutes outside when the sun is rising, or between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. depending on, I think you said you're in LA. So I would go there, I would get connected to the earth, even get in the water if you can, get in the ocean, look toward the sun for a few minutes, and then get out. And if you tolerate 5 minutes, then the next time you go 10 minutes. If you tolerate 10 minutes, the next time you go 15 minutes. If you experience any backlash, then stay there until your body acclimates. But you need more sun. That's going to help with inflammation and a lot of these allergic responses you're dealing with. Heal the gut. A lot of histamine intolerance deals with the composition of your gut. Some things that can help: Inflammacor, which contains the amino acid glutamine, which can help with leaky gut and intestinal permeability. New Medica GI Restore. Bone broth, the homemade stuff, is a lot better than the stuff that you can buy in the store. Had many people that drank the store-bought stuff for years, had no results, started making it themselves, and experienced a quick improvement in their symptoms. Prescript Assist probiotic to repopulate the gut, and prebiotics like Clear Labs Biotogen, Prebiogen, Prebiotin, and all of those can help. That's like food for the good bacteria. Almost done, but want to be thorough with you guys. Infraspinaeus respiratory response or reflex injection therapy. So this was developed by Dr. Harry Filbert. I believe he was from Louisiana, and what they found is that a lot of people that are dealing with allergies, they have this asymptomatic painful area in the back of their shoulders or upper back. And what that does is it restricts blood flow, it restricts circulation and airflow to different parts of the body. It also depresses our immune response. And by injecting local anesthetics like lidocaine, they found that it actually can improve asthma symptoms, allergy symptoms, and some of the other things that come along with that. So it may be worth looking into. I have not used that with myself or with any clients, but have heard a lot of anecdotal cases of positive responses from people. And then last, fix your environments. So you got to look at where you're living, what toxins you're exposed to on a daily basis, whether that is EMFs, whether that is the food you're eating and unidentified food allergies that you may not yet be aware of. I would be looking at where you're sleeping, where you're working, where you're spending a lot of your time, and seeing what type of Wi-Fi you're exposed to, how much are you using your cell phone, how much are you flying, how much time are you spending in hotels that we know dramatically increase our risk of all of these things. And that is kind of where I would start for biohacking your allergic response, Lauren. So hopefully that was helpful. And the last question was from Tony, and Tony asked, how often can women do intermittent fasting? Is this something that can be done every day? So for those of you guys that may not know what intermittent fasting is, there's a lot of different ways to do it, but essentially you're condensing your feeding window, the amount of time that you eat, into anywhere from like 6 to 8 hours. Some people do like a 12-12 where they're fasting for 12 hours and they're eating for 12 hours. That's kind of the bare minimum. And some people go as much as they'll eat one meal a day, where they'll like only eat dinner and then they'll go almost 23, 24 hours in between meals. And it really depends, and then there's everything in between. Whether or not intermittent fasting can be done every day, it depends. Some people do really well with intermittent fasting, and some people need to be on a complete opposite protocol where they're eating a high-fat, high-protein meal within 30 minutes of waking up. And that depends a lot on your current state of health, your genetic expression, and a number of other factors. So without going into too much detail where you're trying to figure out where you are at, I would say if you feel good following an intermittent fasting protocol, your energy is high, your sex drive is high, you're not dealing with hair loss or irregular menstrual cycles, then you're probably okay doing a more intermittent fasting protocol. If you're finding that you're feeling run down, you're doing it because you think you should, but brain function, energy, a lot of these other things are compromised when you fast, then you probably want to rethink your approach. So what I do most of the time is I'll go for a 24-hour to 36-hour fast once a week. And then a lot of other days, if I'm feeling good and I am not hungry, I will just fast until I get hungry. It's a more intuitive style of eating. And when you've taken steps to get your body back to a state of homeostasis, that works pretty well. Sometimes when people have health issues going on, whether their gut microbiome is messed up, whether they're dealing with inflammation or anything else that we've discussed in these videos, trying to jump into an intermittent fasting protocol too soon can be too much extra stress for the body. So you need to take into account how many ways you are stressing the body. Someone that is doing CrossFit and restricting their calories and has a lot of stress going on with work or in their home environment is not going to tolerate intermittent fasting, as well as someone that does yoga twice a week, is a meditation instructor, and has very little sources of stress in their life. So hopefully that puts it in a bit of context. You need to look at it in the scope of all the different stressors in your life and just by how you feel. Overall, when in doubt, if something makes you feel good, assuming it is supported by anecdotal and scientific evidence, then it is probably okay for you to continue doing so. As soon as you find yourself not feeling well or trying to do it because you think you should, you may want to rethink your approach and tweak to do things that make you feel good. So hopefully you guys found that helpful. That's it for today's live Q&A. If you guys have other questions, you can add them in the comments of this video. I will have a post on our page where you can add questions for the next live Q&A. And when it gets a little bit more in-depth, like stuff with this, I'll try to either build it out or even jump on a live Zoom video with you guys where I can ask you some more questions and troubleshoot some of this stuff with you live. So appreciate you guys hanging out. Thanks for being members. Put your questions in the comment section and I will talk to you in another video.